I don't believe in the Electoral College. I'm with Thomas Jefferson, who said it was an ink blot on the Constitution. The whole election comes down to a handful of states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Michigan. Everybody knows what they are. That's just an irrational way for the world's greatest democracy to conduct a presidential election. One thing those foreign countries never come back to us with when they're writing a new constitution is, hey, that electoral college thing you've got, we'd really like to try that over here. Sounds like a great idea. We fail in exporting that anywhere. Nobody adopts that. I think it's a profoundly undemocratic practice and institution, the way that it's evolved over the centuries, like other anti-democratic institutions we've left behind, like the state legislatures choosing U.S. senators, something that we got rid of in the 17th Amendment. What are the basic problems with the Electoral College? Well, one is that it doesn't follow majority rule. So it's not the way we elect U.S. senators, representatives, mayors, governors, anybody else. In all of those other elections, the only question is who got the most votes. The second problem with it is that it is profoundly polarizing and dividing for the country. If you're running for president on the Republican side, you're basically saying, how do I go out and make sure I can win the red states and a handful of purple states? If you're running on the Democratic side, you're saying, how can I hold the blue states and get a handful of purple states? And then it marginalizes the vast majority of the country because most people live in safe red states or safe blue states, and there's no campaigning there. There's no campaign offices set up in the general election. There's very few TV ads, if any. It's just not a wise deployment of your resources if you're a Democrat or a Republican to go spend time in California. Everyone knows it's going blue. It's not wise to go spend time in Mississippi or Alabama or Indiana or North Dakota or Rhode Island or Vermont or what have you. So the whole election comes down to a handful of states. And recently we've seen, Mr. Chairman, that the Electoral College has become dangerous in promoting electoral mischief and corruption, because if you can take just one state out, even if it's illegitimately, you could win the whole election, as opposed to relying on a national popular vote, which almost inevitably has differences of millions of votes. And we saw in 2020 that the Electoral College has become a positive danger to us because there are so many nooks and crannies and phases in the process that if you have a strategic bad faith actor like Donald Trump, he will try to do whatever he can to turn each phase of the process into another opportunity to revisit the election and to essentially re-argue the election. So people were looking at January 6th as people voting for who they supported for president, as opposed to just receiving the Electoral College votes that were brought in by the states. So I think that the imperative of democratic progress in America demands that we recognize that we've outgrown that system and that we can move to majority rule. And the national popular vote, interstate compact, I think is the best vehicle right now. I think if we did it that way once or twice, then we would quickly recognize that it's time to amend the Constitution.